everybody, and welcome to our MXGP TV live studio show. Here's round 6 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, and it's the MXGP of Russia here at Orléans. And on our studio show today, we've got Jed Beaton, Clement Dasalle, and Antti Pyörinen. But before we go anywhere, though, let's introduce our wonderful co-host, as always, Lisa Leyland.
Morning.
We're back in Russia. And the weather is a lot better than it was last year.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's
outside.
Beautiful, and it's going to get warmer tomorrow as well, and right next to the Black Sea. It's a lovely feel, isn't it?
Yeah, no rain on the horizon.
We like that.
We love it, yeah. Well, I tell you what, let's crack on with our first guest then. F&H Racing, Jed Beaton from Australia. First year in the MX2 World Championship, but he was here last year in the European 250s. Welcome, Studio Show Virgin. How you doing?
Yeah,
good to see you.
Yeah, good. It's always good when the weather's good. Track looks awesome, so no, excited for this weekend.
All right, well, look, first of all, congratulations on a podium last time out in Portugal.
Yeah, thank you.
Did it come as a bit of a surprise, or were you kind of expecting it based on the fact that you already got one in Villars last year at the final round?
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise, but yeah, I've done a lot of hard work over the off-season, and that's what we were building for, and the whole team were working hard for that. So yeah, it come a little bit earlier to all of us, but no, it's good that it happened. Yeah.
How was your winter program? Because you raced EMX 250 last year, but did you have to step it up, or did you just leave things as they were?
I kind of changed it a fair bit, because when I raced EMX last year, I come over in March, and this year I come over mid-November. So I spent the whole winter here, and I think that paid a crucial part into the program. It made me definitely a lot stronger as a person, you know what I mean? The weather and everything was just completely different, but yeah, I'm glad to have the people that I did around me and help me through it and build.
Yeah, and how about your teammates, Adam Sterry, Ruben Fernandez, and the F&H Racing team? How's the feeling within the team?
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, Adam speaks perfect English, so it's good for me to get along with him.
That's debatable.
So I'd be concerned if he didn't.
and yeah, not a lot of people over here can do that. So no, it's always good to have him around, and he gets the jokes that I get, so it's good. But no, Ruben's slowly learning. He's Spanish English, but
how's your Spanish coming on though?
Yeah, it's not good.
I tell you what, you tweet well in Spanish though.
Oh yeah. Thanks to the team, mate.
Well, look, you've been in Europe for the past year now. Have you picked up any kind of random phrases and things like that? Because obviously you speak English and that, but moving to Holland and living out there, you know, there's certain... Are you getting by okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sort of learning the language a little bit now, and I pretty much understand all of Dutch, but just can't speak it. So, yeah, it's coming along good, but yeah, every different language you sort of learn all the bad words, everyone that you come to, but other than that, no, not much.
Okay, well, Jed, we have a question on social media for you. This one's from Brian, and he says, what has been the biggest adjustment you had to make coming from Australia to Europe and from racing EMX first and then MXGP? Because there was a lot of changes, wasn't there?
Yeah, last year, obviously, I got the fill-in ride for HRC, and then it was sort of EMX and MX2 mix. So I got the feel of what needed to be done in MX2. So, yeah, I went home and had a bit of a break and rested, and then come back earlier. And pretty much the only thing that I changed was being here the whole off-season. And obviously with Mark, we did a lot of riding, and he was a former GP rider himself, so he sort of knows what needs to be done as well. So it was good having him around and just guiding us through the off-season and stuff like that. So mainly that was the biggest change, just getting here earlier and more riding.
Yeah.
Well, we did mention before, it is your rookie season in MX2. How have you found it overall, though, you know, the pace? Because you pretty much seem to hit the ground running in Patagonia, 5th overall. You know, was that kind of what you expected there, or, you know, was that a nice little boost in confidence to get that result of the first round? Yeah,
yes and no. Like, yeah, like I said, we obviously did a lot of riding in the off-season, and it was good to start it off on a strong note and build from that. That was pretty much the goal Mark and I set, is just have no expectations, go out and ride, and then and see what results we get, and then build everything from that. So I feel like we've slowly been doing that, and every round's been getting a little bit better and a little bit better. But obviously, I've had 2 bad races, which is a little bit of bad luck, like a crash on the first lap and no front brakes. So it's motorsport and that can happen, but we've just got to minimise the mistakes and keep it chipping away.
Well, you raced here last year in EMX 250. Are you looking forward to this GP, and how's this type of track for you?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's obviously hard pack. I like hard pack tracks, and it's always a bonus when you've ridden the track before. Like there's a couple of tracks this year that I hadn't seen, and it just the original feel of the first few laps is a bit different because you don't know the layout and stuff like that. But no, I'm looking forward to this one. It looks good and it's sunny, so keen to get it underway.
In terms of the team that you're riding for now, it's very much a privateer team, a satellite team.
Yeah.
But last year when you rode EMX 250, you were riding for a privateer team there. Then you had the chance to ride for HRC, filling in for one of the riders.
Yeah.
What's the difference between riding for the factory team and riding a satellite team in that respect? Is there much difference? Do you need all that different material? Did it make a difference to you last year?
Like last year, yes, it made a big difference. Obviously, having the factory equipment, like factory suspension, tyres and stuff like that, from where I was coming from. But this year, my team go above and beyond to try give me the best that they can possibly give. Like they pretty much do anything that we ask, and if we need something. But like the only thing that we can't get access to really is factory tyres. We've got good suspension, and they pretty much, like I said, do anything. So they want to eventually be a factory team, and hopefully they reach that.
But while we're waiting for our next guest, Clement Dasalle, to arrive, what about your background in Australia? What were your achievements before you came here?
In 2014, I raced the under-19s class, and I led that all the way until the last 2 rounds where I broke my leg before that. The year after, I stepped up to MX2 and finished 4th in the series there, and then 16, I ended up winning the MX2 championship. So, yeah, I had a bit of success in Australia, and obviously my goal was to always come over here, and now I'm here. I'm loving it.
Cool. And whereabouts are you from in Australia? Are you one of these sort of like stick a couple on the barbie kind of guys, or much more of a surfer type dude?
Nah, stick a couple of snags on the barbie type of guy. You know.
You saying you're not a fan of surfing?
No, not at all. Yeah, I couldn't do it to save myself. So, nah, I'm just a country kid. I was born in Tasmania and then eventually moved to Victoria for racing. So, yeah, I'm just a country kid.
All right. And just real quick, I guess you might have one eye on potential Motocross of Nations selection place at the end of the year. Was that a goal?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I got selected in 2016 for Nations, but ended up breaking my collarbone. So, no, definitely on the bucket list to go and do that.
All right, cool. Well,
wow,
Jed Beaton,
brilliant.
FNH Racing, thanks for joining us for now.
Thanks,
hopefully our second guest has arrived, Clement Dasalle, but if not, Lisa and I will just ad-lib for a whole second part of the programme. So, but before we do meet him, hopefully, let's see what happened 2 weeks ago. Here's highlights from MX2 Race 2 in Portugal. The second MX2 race saw Jorge Prado on the Red Bull KTM grab another foxhole shot, his 5th of 2018. Behind him, his teammate, Paul Jonas, Sever Bruyakov, Calvin Verlanderen briefly on the number 10, but he was quickly pushed back to 7th as Thomas Kjær Olsen, Jed Beaton, Sever Bruyakov all came charging through. Bernardini made a great start, but that didn't last long for the Italian either. He was back in 8th before the end of the lap on his TM. Thomas Kjær Olsen was in 2nd for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna on the number 19 machine, but couldn't do anything to keep Jorge Prado in his sights. He battled with Jonas over 2nd for a number of laps before Jonas eventually got pushed back. Jed Beaton was keeping a watching eye on both. He saw Thomas Kjær Olsen go through, and he too went past the defending world champion. He was now into 3rd place. The two Khmer Yamahas of Sever Bruyakov and Ben Watson were also trading places. Watson was ahead of his teammate and into 4th and was closing in on Jonas. He made that move to push him back, and he was having a fantastic ride in race 2. Sever Bruyakov couldn't do anything about Jonas in the early stages, But he got his chance a little later on in the race. Meanwhile, Ben Watson went after Jed Beaton. These two fought over third place, and it was this move that got the Brit into a top 3 position. He now had Thomas Kjær-Olsen in his sights as he looked to chase a podium here in Portugal. Jonas fell, and that was the opportunity that Sever Brilikov had been waiting for. Put him into 5th place on his Khmer Yamaha. But once again, it was all about this guy, the young Spaniard, number 61, Jorge Prado, on his Red Bull KTM. He came home well clear of the rest of the field to record back-to-back wins, but this battle went right the way down to the wire. Thomas Kjær-Olsen just pipped Ben Watson by 1/10 of a second, and that meant that the Yamaha rider was off the podium in the final classification. Jorge Prado was your overall winner from Thomas Kjær-Olsen, and Jed Beaton returned to an MX2 podium for the first time since Villars-Sous-Écot, the final round in 2017. But Jonas now leads the championship by just 14 points over his teammate. It was 28 at the start of the weekend. Thomas Kjær-Olsen sits in 3rd. Welcome back to our live studio show here on MXGP TV. Our second guest has arrived, the MX Panda, of course, Clement Dasalle from Monster Energy Kawasaki Racing Team. Welcome to our studio show, Clement. Always good to see you. We just had a free weekend off. What did you do? How did you spend your time? Was it a good one?
Yeah, it was a good one. It was the birthday of my daughter, so it was really nice.
Yeah, so what kind of things you do?
Yeah, just a small thing between family and friend, and you know, have a Sunday relax.
Yeah.
It's changing, and it was nice, really nice, simple, and you know, I like it.
And what do you do actually on a weekend off? So the season finishes and the testing is done, and you have time to spend with the family. What do you do? Because I imagine you're the kind of guy that likes to just move to a log cabin in the middle of the forest and just be around nature and all this and do nothing, or fish, or...
No, not fish, no, you know, I don't ever for that, but no, you know, of course, first of all, it's my training, you know, like 6 days in a week, you know, I try to take 1 day rest and doing some other thing, looking at my garden and everything.
Yeah. Do you just look at it?
Yeah.
You don't work in it. I just look at it.
And, you know, that's the thing, you know, first of all, I do my sport and my program, but then, yeah, I, you know, training and things like this, and yeah, in the same time try to recover as good. And now, you know, since I have my daughter, like the family is really, really important for me. And I mean, it was all the time important, but I mean, it makes me understand a lot of things. And you know, I try to enjoy the life, you know, and keep it in myself,
enjoy the life.
my style, you know.
Yeah, why not? Okay, well, let's talk about last year. When you got injured in Assen, how much time did you take off from riding, and when did you start training again?
Yeah, it was actually going more quick than what I expect, because you know, I feel the impact in that crash, and you know, it was like talking about the bike a little bit, and like around there. So, but finally, you know, I was happy because it was like more scared than serious things. So it was good, and then it took me like 2 months. You know, I take my time because it was not in a rush to be back on the bike crazy. So it was not 1 or 2 weeks that will make the big difference. So, and then I took some time, you know, to come back. To have my feeling of stretch normal and everything, so I had to work a lot after that, but it was good, you know, everything come back good in a good way, so it's good, and you know, I feel good on my bike, so like usual, so it was really good. It's just like a bad souvenir, let's say.
So were you surprised to make the podium in Patagonia after starting so late?
Not really, you know, because I mean, it was good, and I know that, but in the same time I'm working for it, and I'm, you know, and even better. So, you know, when I start, it's for this and minimum, and
you expected to be there.
Yeah, and with my feeling on the bike also in training was good, but yeah, it's all the time, you know, every year you test a lot, and you try to improve yourself. So, you know, it was a lot of things going on, let's say, on the bike, on the chassis and everything that we try to improve. So the first race, it's all the time, let's say, if it's everything will work and on a good way, you know, because like in top 8, everything is so close that you can be 7 and the other 8 you can be 2 or
17.
You know, easy, yes.
Hopefully not.
It depends also a lot in the start, but yeah, it was anyway good to see where I am, and I also changed a couple of small things in my program to work, so it was good to see where I am, or I feel, and that's it.
Good. Well, look, more from Clement in a moment. Normally we have a cross-promotion or a package for you to win, but let's talk about our MXGP TV package here this weekend. Have you ever wondered how you can watch MXGP live and uninterrupted, no commercial breaks? Then why not sign up and purchase our MXGP TV season package right now, which includes live and on-demand races of every round of the 2018 season, plus all the qualifying races, the FIA Monster Energy Motocross Nations, and don't forget, it's also the only place where you can watch World Women's Motocross Championship, EMX 125, 250 and the 300s as well. It's extreme racing action anytime, anywhere. Now, it's obvious by now that we are running a different schedule here in Russia, Monday and Tuesday. So don't forget to join us for all the races live tomorrow, of course.
Okay, thanks for that, Paul. But back to Clement. Clement, at the moment, you're 4th in the championship. You've had 3 podiums. 2nd overall in Trentino was your best result. Are you pleased at the moment with how things are going with your riding? Are you happy at this stage?
Actually, yes, you know, but yeah, we have to say that the 2 guys in the front are really fast and difficult to beat. But actually, I feel great, and it's good, you know, already, like you say, 3 podium in 5 races. And yeah, unfortunately, I was still going on for that in Portugal, really in charge for podium, and just small problem. So, you know, it didn't help, but okay, it's like that, and it's actually okay for the moment, and we'll try to keep on that way and even better.
Yeah. And that's normally a place that you like as well, Portugal. 3 victories there, of course, in the past. But what about this place here? Of course, 12 months ago, or 10 months ago, you took the win here in what was a very, very muddy weekend. It's also the last time you took a Grand Prix victory. How tough were the conditions here? Because the first race looked like there was more water on the track. The second one, it dried out, maybe more heavy, but you mastered the conditions, and you won the GP for the second time a week after the French Grand Prix. How difficult was it?
Yeah, it's true. You know, Saturday was a completely different day. It was dry, and then the Sunday was like muddy, like we see it there. And yeah, it was. I had a real bad start in first moto, I remember, and I just tried to keep calm and then try to take the best result, you know. And it was good. I actually finished 3rd first moto, and then second one, you know, same plan a little bit, and I was 2nd. Quickly in the race, and yes, you know, we know that in mud it's even more difficult sometimes to overpass, but I was keeping on the pressure, and it's also important with a lap rider, you know, to be to check and be intelligent with this, and sometimes losing a little bit, and then I was a bit lucky in 2nd moto, and then actually favored bad luck things like this, and I could make the pass with that and win the GP overall. So it was great.
Good. Yeah, and are you looking forward to racing here this year?
Yeah, of course. You know, it's all the time starting positive with good remember things from last year. And but anyway, you know, I keep in mind that every year is different, every day is different. So everybody is working hard and everybody want to win. So it's a new day, new year, and I will fight for good stuff anyway.
All right. Well, we're almost out of time, but we do have one social media question for you.
Yes, we do. This one's from Jamie Martinez. How much time do you train in a day of motocross?
How much time do you spend training during the day?
It depends which day, you know, but actually it can depend, like with a warm-up and 2 heat moto training, or then all the time a warm-up, and then like one time more intensive training, and then after 1 moto, or
so it can vary.
like this. Yeah.
And I guess also, Jamie, that it's in the winter, maybe they train harder to get the base level fitness, and then during the season when they're racing and traveling, it becomes, you know, more just ticking over to keep that level of fitness.
Yeah,
but,
that's true.
But anyway, Clement, thanks for joining us here. All the best this weekend. Who knows, maybe we'll see you on the top step of the podium, just like last year. You never know. But we are out of time with Clement, but thanks for joining us. Antti Pyränen is in the wings waiting to see us, but before we meet him, let's see what happened in Portugal 2 weeks ago. MXGP Race 2 highlights.
After taking the foxhole shot in Moto number 1, Jeffrey Hurlings was set to do the same, but his teammate Tony Cairoli had something to say about that. He started alongside the bullet, but in doing so, ruined his own chance of taking the whole shot as Fevre went through, but it was Sean Simpson on the Wilvo Yamaha who was classified as the black plate winner in race 2. Cairoli, though, danced his way around Fevre before they'd reached turn 4, and the Red Bull KTM was in the lead, closely followed by Jeffrey Hurlings, and one corner later, the Dutchman was up the inside and past the Italian and into the lead. Jeffrey Hurlings had definitely sorted his starts out. Gauthier Paulin stalled his machine on the entry to the waves, and that was it. It turned out to be a mechanical issue rather than rider error. He would not score points in race 2. Hurlings led from Cairoli. Dasalle was 3rd, Fevre 4th. Tim Geiser for HRC was circulating in 5th place and was on course for his first podium of 2018. Sean Simpson was in the mix in the early stages of the race, and the Wilvo Yamaha rider battled with the Monster Energy Yamaha rider of Jeremy Van Horebeke. Simpson would eventually fade to 11th, though, by the time the checkered flag fell. Cairoli couldn't do anything about Jeffrey Hurlings, but their teammate, Glenn Koldenhoff, was on a charge. He started outside the top 15, and with moves on Jeremy Van Horebeke and Evgeny Bobashev, and later on in the race on Jeremy Seewer, the Dutchman found his way into a well-deserved 6th place. Van Horebeke also followed the Dutchman through on the Russian as he started to fade to 9th. Fevre for Monster Energy Yamaha couldn't do anything about Dasalle ahead of him on the 25, who came home in 3rd. And likewise, Cairoli had no reply for the 84 of Jeffrey Hurlings, this time in Portugal. A week ago it was Trentino, and the Bullet made it a double moto victory here to win on Portuguese soil for the 4th time, his first in MXGP. Cairoli was 2nd, Geiser was 3rd, on the podium for the first time in 2018, but Roman Fevre now moves up to 3rd at the expense of Dasalle and Paulin suffering mechanical issues here at Agata. For Jeffrey Hurlings, it was victory number 71. Tony Cairoli, he'll be scratching his head, wondering what he can do about the problem that is Jeffrey Hurlings.
Back to our final part of our MXGP TV studio show, live, of course, from the MXGP of Russia. Our final guest is in place, Mr. Antti Pyränen from Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Good to see you, of course. New dad, congratulations.
Thank you.
He just about made it in time to get here. But, Antti, this GP here in Russia, it's not a flyaway Grand Prix, but it kind of, the teams are working under those kind of flyaway conditions. What's the process? Give us a brief description as to how much work is involved when you guys arrive here and have to deal with the crating situation.
Yeah, for sure. For us, to be honest, it's like a flyaway GP. You know, we have all the bikes on the crates and all the parts and everything. So, and we fly here and yeah, we prepare everything same like we would go to, example, Argentina. You know, with all the AT-AT carnets and all this. So, so it's a little bit more challenging, but we have experience for it, so we know exactly what to do.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let's talk 2018 now. How is Max Anstey? He's been missing the past couple of GPs, but he's back this weekend. Is he okay?
Yeah, Max is now is fine. You know, he was definitely struggling. You know, when he crashed the warm up in Spain. You know, which was a pity. He was not even pushing that lap. You know, and just crashed and had a concussion, so it was it was a bummer, but now he was resting a couple of weeks, and now he was able to do good training, and I don't expect that he will be 100% ready to battle in the front now, but if he has a solid GP now, then by Latvia, I would say he should be back in business.
As a team manager, it must be quite frustrating at times, because you can have a rider that has a solid winter, a good motocross of nations like Max did, but then can have a problem at the beginning of the season. So motocross can be pretty tough, can't it, really?
Yeah, overall, sports, it is so small margins, and like Max is a great example. We had a really good off-season and all the pre-season races, he was really working hard, and he was right up there. But just a little silly mistake, and then you throw everything away. And yeah, for sure, those things are frustrating, but we need to take it as it is, and that's part of professionality also for the riders and teams, that you need to accept that there is coming the up and downs, and on each situation you just need to make best out of it.
Sure. But are you happy with his riding in general with Max? 6th overall was his best Grand Prix at Valkenswaard. We saw some footage there a moment ago, but especially after 13th in Patagonia. I mean, I don't know what the problem was there with him, but overall, are you happy with the way he's riding?
Yeah, let's say that he had a great preseason, and all the preseason races, and Argentina was just a little bit like things didn't go our way there, He was first moto, he came, I think, from 15th to 6th, and then he had a last lap crash, which is of course eating the positions, and second moto he was crashing then eventually on the first corner. So then he was speed-wise, he was quite good, but it was just not our GP. Then eventually already in Valkenswaard he was on a podium fight, He was battling with Gautier, for the last spot on the podium, and then he had a last lap crash also there, but he was actually right up there, but it just didn't start exactly his way, Sure.
And what about Gautier? Because he made the podium in Valkenswaard, and he has a habit of doing that there, doesn't he, really?
Yeah, he has, and Gautier is good. He has been, just making solid races, I would say. He's collecting good points each GP. He made one podium, and if he's not on a podium, he's always 4th or 5th, and this is, of course, we want to take the podiums, and eventually we want to win. But if it's not there, on certain, because of certain reasons, then it's still important, like he has done, make the maximum out of it, and to keep the gap, to top 3 in the championship also small, and this is what he has done. And lately, I need to say his trainings and his races, there is much more, potential, and I think slowly, starting from this week and on, I believe that it starts to come out,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he is consistent, and there's more potential there. Are you expecting more from him now then?
Absolutely, so I know, he had a little bit bad starts and all this, but once we get the things together, I believe, to be honest, that he can battle right up there with Tony, and even, on a top day, even with Jeffrey. So he has the potential. He is one of the MXGP riders, speed-wise, who can be right up there.
Sure. We're almost out of time, but briefly, what happened second moto in Portugal? We saw him sort of stall in the background and then pushing the bike away. What kind of malfunction was it?
Yeah, it was just a minor technical failure, and unfortunately, this is part of racing and motorsport time to time, and we just need to overcome it.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we have time for social media. We've got a quick question for you from Alfred on social media, and he says, what is the biggest change in teams and racing compared to 15 years ago, in your opinion?
Let's say the racing is more or less the same, like motocross, the DNA, is there. Everybody needs to work hard, the teams, the riders, so on that side, nothing really has changed. But of course, things has become more and more professional on each aspect. The riders are really professional. There is not any more sand riders or only riders for hardbacks. They are just very good on everything. All of the guys, they are fit, you know, and team-wise, you know, we have for sure, you know, I used to race on the teams 15, 20 years ago, you know, and it's much more people working, you know, and everything is just a little bit more taken care of, you know, starting off the bikes, you know, and spare parts and all these things, you know, traveling plan and the training plan. So everything is just a bit more professional.
Yeah. And even in your workshop in the team morning, there is somebody to keep the floor nice and clean every time somebody puts a footprint. But Antti, we are out of time, unfortunately. But thanks to Antti, to Clement, to Jed Beaton, our guests here this weekend. Don't forget you catch all the action live today. 4:25 is the MX2 qualifying race. 5:10 is the MXGP qualifying race. And all the action tomorrow live on MXGP TV. We'll see you then. Enjoy this MXGP of Russia. Until next time, bye for now.